Welcome to 99% Pickleball, a podcast by Empower Pickleball. We're your hosts, Nikki Maldonado.
Mari Humberg, and we're back for another solo episode. Nikki, you're going to have to talk to me this whole time.
Boy, just you and me, Mari, this whole time for an hour, whatever, plus and change.
Just
Man,
you and me.
This is a
You ready?
doozy. Ready for it. Let's do this.
Nikki, in our first episode that we did our solo, just the two of us to introduce the podcast, to introduce ourselves, I think we talked a lot about kind of our background and what led us to where we are today, right? But we didn't really talk about what we actually do today.
What are we doing? How did we get here? Wait, where is here? What do we do?
We know where we got, but we don't know where we got to. So I think we need to talk a little bit more about that. Kind of talk about what our daily lives look like right now, what our responsibilities are, what our goals are. Get to kind of experience a little bit more of the present rather than the past. What do you think?
Oh, you want to get to know me better, Mari. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it
Same.
like that. You know, I'm a little shy.
Right back at you. Right back at you, my friend. No, I think it's a great topic because I think it also, what everything that both of us are doing on a daily connects very, I think, closely to what's happening in pickleball right now. So yeah, let's get into it. You want to start first? You want to tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me what you've been up to, what you're doing?
I feel like I'm being interviewed. Yeah. You know, I haven't been interviewed for a job in a long time.
What is your biggest weakness?
Don't you dare. Don't do this to me, Nikki. I want to kind of expand on, obviously I got to where I am, which is pro pickleball, right? Which I think that's kind of where I ended the last bit of this in the first episode that we did, just talking about our background. But yeah, I am a professional pickleball player. And when people ask me what my job is, that's what I would say. I am a professional pickleball player. But what does that mean? I think there's so much more to it than just showing up to the tournaments and playing. So let's get into it. So first of all, I moved to Florida for pickleball. I want to make sure that this is known because this is a big part of my life. This is something that was important enough to me that made me make a life change. So when I quit my job, I was working my corporate job. I stayed there for a little bit longer in Louisville, Kentucky, but the competition in Louisville, Kentucky is not that high. And there's a couple of pickleball meccas in the US. And I would probably say now the two main ones, or maybe let's make it three. It's South Florida, which is where I am, Austin, Texas, and I would go with Phoenix, Arizona as the third one.
So you're saying Louisville is not a mecca of pickleball?
I would say
destination.
Louisville, Kentucky is not a mecca of pickleball. That is, I stand by that statement. Yes.
All right. Fair,
Though I do still love Louisville, Kentucky. But out of those options, I chose to move to Florida. A few reasons for that. I love the warm weather, extremely warm weather here. So that was one. Second thing, this actually gets me much closer to home, which is still Brazil. My family's there. There are direct flights from Fort Lauderdale and Miami to São Paulo. Very easy route. And I already knew a lot of the people that were here. So I just felt like it would be an easier transition for me to move over. And I have non-pickleball friends that live in the area too, which is super important to me. So
you have non-pickleball friends?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
I don't.
Did you run out of those?
I don't have those. That's my first question when I ask. Yeah, when I talk to people, that's my first qualifiers. Do you play pickleball or not? Any friends pre-pickleball must learn how to play pickleball.
Yeah, or they can't be friends anymore.
Or they can't be friends. That's okay.
Yeah,
they exist.
That was definitely a priority for me. So yes, I moved to Florida. Now, this move, it sounds silly to people when they're like, why did you move? You travel all the time. Yes, but I do need to have a home base. So I ended up buying a home here in Florida, and I'm in Boynton Beach. I come back here as much as possible. It's not that much, but I have a great training routine, training spot here. I go to Replay Club. I have courts in my own community. I have a gym that I go to. I have a physical therapist if I need to go to. Basically everything around me. So to be good at being a professional pickleball player, a lot of things need to be done. I need to train. It doesn't just magically appear, unfortunately. I train, and by that I mean I drill a lot and I play a lot of rec, and I go to the gym. I work out, lift, agility, everything.
You play rec?
Absolutely.
Okay, when you play rec, what are you signing up for? Are you signing up for like a gated duper thing? Are you signing up for an open play? Like, what are you doing?
Hey, that's a great question. We do closed games. So yeah, we basically get a foursome and go out and play. We don't really go do open play or any.
You're not showing up with
Sally and Carl
the pros.
Yeah, no. Even though I
That's what I wanted
recently
to
did
hear.
go to an open play because mom was visiting, I showed up and I only went to play with mom and people were walking up to me, "Can you join our game now?" And I was like, "No, no, I'm here to play with my mother. I don't want any part
Yeah.
of this open play."
She can join. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, get mom in. They're like, "No, we don't want her. We want you." Sorry, mom. Yeah, so train a ton. We do get closed groups, foursomes, either women's doubles or mixed doubles usually. And I try to drill once a day and play once a day when I'm home and go to the gym on top of that. So lots of
Mari,
that.
drop some names. Who are some people that you play with? Who are in these foursomes?
So on the women's side, I love training with Millie, Georgia. I have the APP squad as well as in the area. Bobby, Shelby, we got Amanda. There's just so many people around here. Tyra's here, Paris is here, Victoria DeMuzio, the Walker sisters, Lane. There's so many people around here. Those are just the girls. Jesse's
Oof.
here. Yeah.
My God.
So it's not really a problem to find a group of people to play. So that's pretty good. It's always doable. You can always find people to play with in the area, which was not the case in Louisville. So
Hmm.
a big part of my life is now training. And obviously recover is in that too. Cold plunging. I love the sauna. I need to
Hmm.
stretch. I need to be better at that. But it is a full-time job to do that, right? Like a lot of people think, oh, it's Tuesday afternoon. And yes, it is Tuesday afternoon right now. We are recording a podcast, but this is also part of the job, which is going to lead me to the part that's outside of professional pickleball. I do quite a bit. So I know you have your full-time job and we're going to get to that soon, but I feel like I also have full-time jobs. I say that in plural because I feel like I have many jobs. So playing is my priority. That's job number one, playing. Training for it, going to the tournaments, competing at the highest level and trying to get as many wins as possible. I think my second job is being a coach. And Nikki, you've gotten to attend one of my clinics. I hear that you got good feedback about your level after. So hopefully that's the case for a lot of my students.
Solid 5-5 now. Yeah.
Solid
No
five. I
problem.
mean, that'd be pretty
Yeah.
incredible. I really enjoy coaching. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I liked doing it when I was playing tennis, and I really love doing it in pickleball as well. So I have an online instructional platform that I work on with Zane. It's called Transition Zone Pickleball. So if you're interested in learning more about it, feel free to shoot me a DM or check them out online. I do live virtual sessions often there. I do 4 a month that I actually get to talk to the students and we just hop on Zoom and just film review, answer any questions. I do actual clinics virtually. So it's a pretty cool system that takes up some time. And on top of that, I also teach live clinics at different locations. It relates to where I'm going most of the time. So New York, I taught there when you were there. I was supposed to play at MLP right before, and that's why we had planned for me to teach those clinics. I got traded right before that, so I no longer had to be there, but I still went for the clinics. So I'm all over the place. This year, actually, just in my career so far in pickleball, I've taught in Brazil, Mexico, Canada, Australia, Cayman Islands, Costa Rica, US. I'm at 7.
Woo. Oh my,
Pretty
you
cool.
said just this year?
In the last 2 years, which is when I
Oh, last
started
2 years. Okay.
actually coaching. Yeah.
My God. Oh my God. Okay. So how do you, because you're on, we talked about this last week. You're on the road like 80% of the year, if not more, just from the tour, right? So how do you plan when you're going to do these plans? I know you're planning around where you're going to be, but like, how do you figure out kind of the sweet spot for timing there?
Well, thankfully, I have a friend that helps me out with all this stuff because I am incapable of doing everything. So Ariel Butler, shout out AB.
Shout
She
out
is
AB.
the absolute best at doing all this stuff for me. She basically just asked me, do you want to do it before or after the tournament? And then she contacts the clubs and just does all of the scheduling and the management of my clinics. And it's just a really good system that we have. So basically, I'll try to decide. Nikki, I typically prefer to do it before the tournaments just
Yeah.
because for PPAs, whenever I'm done, I want to leave. For MLPs, we're typically there until the end of the week. So it's different. Just things for us to know. And there's some clubs that want us to go. Like we did a Toronto trip this year that I taught at 4 different clubs in Toronto, like all in a row. So
when you say even like for PPA, when you want, I think this is interesting. I think this is something for fans to know, like a peek behind the curtain into the players' lives. When do you book your flights home? Are you waiting until obviously you have to wait until you find out for PPA when your week is going to end. How do you do that?
right. First of all, most of us have status in an airline, right? With the amount that we
Yeah.
fly. So I'm often getting upgrades. I'm often getting priority and changing my flights and all of that. So that does make life a little bit easier. I am a one-off. I am with American Airlines, though I'm being encouraged to leave them. So if you have any opinion on that, please let me know what airline I
Oh,
should move to.
new
Yeah,
airline
lots
should
of people are
worry.
like, whoa, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I actually buy all
Delta.
my flights way ahead of time. I bought all my flights for the rest of the year already.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're in
And then you just
August.
move
So
them if you need?
yeah, worst case, I cancel and it comes in as travel credits, and I'm
Yeah.
going to
You're going to use
use
them.
those. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. And then what I do for the PPAs, which is the one that you were curious about, I always try to
Hmm.
get there either Sunday night or Monday morning because we start playing Tuesday. And
Hmm.
I get a Friday night flight home. That means I would have made it to Friday and played, but lost. I am
Mm.
so happy to move the flight to Sunday if I make it,
Mm.
that it's not a problem. So I
Hmm.
just go ahead and go with Friday nights and then just end up moving it to Sundays if we end up making a final.
Interesting.
So
So
that's what
that's
I
just
do.
like, again, a lot of people don't realize what's going into the life of a pro, but just an added element of, I don't know that I would call it, maybe stress, maybe just a logistics, like
Yeah,
all of these things, right? In addition to just showing up and playing, there are so many things that you have to coordinate in your life. And then you have
so
these
many.
clinics that you're doing as well, and you have to like time those out before, after, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, props to you for just
Right.
managing.
And I end up doing most of it on my own right now, but eventually I might want to hire like administrative assistant or something to help with that because it is a lot. And
Hmm.
yeah, we travel nonstop. So the
Mari,
coaching
yes,
thing,
I accept the role. I accept the role.
you want to book my flights and my hotels and stuff?
No,
It's
that sounds
yours.
awful.
It's yours if you want it.
That sounds terrible. I'm not the
But
person you wanted to do that.
yeah, I've taught over 20 clinics already this year, so it is a big part of my time. So that's kind of something that takes up a lot for me right now. And then I'm going to move on to my third job. Okay, Nikki, so that
Mm.
was my second job. My third job is being a content creator, just like you.
Mm.
We do obviously things in different ways, but I think all content creation is pretty similar, in my opinion. Like we have to think through what
Mm.
we're going to talk about. We have to know who our audience is. We have to understand what you enjoy doing, what your audience wants to see. It's just a lot of that. And thankfully, I do have a couple of people that help me out with that. I break it down into two different parts. I have my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all in one. Chris Amato, shout out Chris. She helps me out with all of that. She's my social media manager. I am bad at social media, so she is very helpful with kind of making sure that I'm going the right direction with what I'm saying in my videos, though I do come up with the content. And then she does all the posting, all the managing of all of that. And then on the YouTube side, I have a crew that I work with in Milwaukee. Kyle, Trevor, AB is involved. Again, AB is involved in a lot of my ventures, but yeah, they kind of help me out with the filming and the editing of the videos. I have a couple of guys internationally that help me out with graphics and with designs and sometimes with editing too. So I end up having like a 5 or 6 person squad just to help me out with all these things that I'm doing. So, I mean, I have a ton of emails to respond to. I'm also having to talk to potential sponsors. I have an agent that helps me out with that. So this is not just an easy job. Like I
Yeah.
often hear people coming up to me and saying, wow, I wish I had your life. And this is not a complaint. Let me be
You just
clear
get paid
here.
to
I
play
like my
pickleball.
life.
Hmm.
I like my
Yep.
life, but it is very busy. And yes, I did do this to myself by adding these additional jobs because a lot of the pro players kind of stay in their lane with just, we're pro players, we're going to train and play. And I just think there's more value to kind of adding all this other stuff that I'm doing that I genuinely just enjoy. And I just want to see kind of where pickleball can take me in the future, not just with the playing part, but with the coaching and with the creation of content and with just meeting people like you along the way. So I am pretty much nonstop pickleball. Pickleball is easily my full-time job. And yeah, it is a job. And I want to touch on this because it is important to think about too. So it is a very fun job, but it is still a job. At the end of the day, I have a life outside of pickleball. Obviously, I have a family, I have a boyfriend, I have a lot of friends. And a lot of times when my family calls at the end of the day and they're like, they want to ask me or talk about pickleball because to them it's just a fun thing. And I
Hmm.
oftentimes say, hey, just remember this is my job and I just like want to talk about something else.
Yeah.
And not because I don't love it. I do. I'm obsessed with the sport. I'm obsessed with what it's done for me, what it's doing for others around me. But it is still a job. No matter
Yeah.
how much you love your job, it's tough to stay connected the entire time. So I try to get away every now and then and actually take vacations, actually disconnect, unplug, and do all of that. But yeah, that's my pickleball life. Now, I'll kind of get into what I do when I'm not playing pickleball.
Well, before we get into that, Maria, you were talking about, the stuff that you're doing, right? I think this varies across the league with different pros doing different amounts of things, some doing far more than others. Is this a conversation that you all have? Like how many other pros do you feel like are doing kind of similar stuff versus like how many pros are just like just playing, and how many pros are doing maybe like another job entirely? Maybe it's not content creation. Yeah. What does that breakdown look like?
That's a great question. I wish I had percentages for you because I think that would be a cool percentage to have. But I would say that most PPA signed pros don't have second jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And most, I would say probably 70 to 80%.
Okay.
And by second jobs, I also mean like they don't have a corporate job or they don't full-time
Right.
teach. That's
Right.
what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Now, for a lot of players that are not signed in the PPA and are not top players internationally or in the ATP or in any other league, I would say if you're not at the top of anything else outside of the PPA, you probably do have a full-time job.
Yep. Are
Because
you
it's an
seeing
expensive
more?
life, Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, you're traveling all the time. I mean, we talk
Traveling
about
is
that all the time.
expensive.
It's traveling's expensive, obviously. I mean, luckily you have your sponsorships, you have your gear, all of that taken care of, but it's still a lot. But, I'm just curious because I'm wondering if you're seeing more, obviously Ben Johns has like his companies, I mean, he's not in the league anymore, but James Ignatowicz starting a paddle company or, are you seeing more of that where pros are becoming more like entrepreneurial even to some extent?
I think that's kind of just how those people are, much like myself. I have very much a
Yeah.
business mind, and I think Ben does too, and I think James does too in his
Mm-hmm.
way. We're all
Mm.
very different, but I'm a James fan. But
Same.
yeah, I think it's something that other people think about, but haven't necessarily started yet. I know that there's people thinking about starting clothing brands. I know that people are starting grip brands. People are starting all kinds of different things, consulting in the space, because I know that that's one of Ben's is that he does consulting for clubs, making sure that the setup is perfect of the courts, the lighting, the spacing, all that stuff that I know nothing about. Just because I'm a pro, it doesn't mean that I have knowledge in certain things like that, right? I don't know exactly how that needs to be set up. I'll tell you if I liked playing on it or not. That's about as much as I know there. So yeah, some of these people just get kind of caught up and obsessed with materials that paddles are made from or shoes that are ideal for a pickleball court. I don't know. There's just so many different things that we can do that I think it sparks curiosity, and some people just end up doing what I'm doing and getting into the weeds of things a little bit more.
Yeah. I just always get curious about that just because you talk about this a lot where, obviously you're, I mean, a pickleball in the nicest way, a pickleball elder at this point at the ripe old
Wow,
age
Nikki,
of
are you
30.
calling me old?
At the ripe old age of 30. I'm 41, so I'm not one to talk, but, in the pro world. And I think it's just an interesting thing to consider of like not only what other, what effort goes into being a pro, because it's hard to just like be a pro and coast. But in addition to that, even thinking about the future and like how much are they actually doing that? But it sounds like, it's moving in that direction, as
Right.
these
I
pros
think
are
this is a conversation that I
getting
have with a
phased
lot
out.
of my fellow
Yeah.
pros is, are you going to play forever? What's going to
Right.
come after this? And a lot of
Yeah.
people just go back and work, or I'll just go teach. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine too. I'm just trying to set up a system that I don't have to really overthink things when I am done with the playing part. I'm trying to get ahead. I think some people, whenever they are done playing, they're going to be, they're going to look back and say, wow, maybe I should have started this a little bit sooner. Maybe I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just my mentality for things. But
Yeah.
to each their own. So it is busy. I will say I am extremely busy. I just have a lot of side ventures that I'm constantly doing. And in a traditional job, you can just take time off. And in this job that I have, I'm really bad about taking time off. So that's something
Mm-hmm.
that I need to improve on and remember that this is a job and that I need to give myself, 4 weeks of paid time off.
Ooh,
Which I
yeah.
saw a
Clock it.
video about people not knowing what PTO stands for. I was like, you all need to go work for a little bit. Like, this is crazy.
Was this
That was
the pickleball video where the people didn't know what corporate terms were?
yeah, like what does OOO stand for? And
I
they
mean,
just have
yeah,
no idea. Like, oh my gosh,
you
you need
know,
to know that out of office, you need to know these terms. What are we
why do you not know
doing?
these things? I think I commented on the video that I wish I didn't know what those terms meant. How nice would it be to not know what a KPI is? Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Sign me up for that life. I don't want to know what RTO, PTO, OO. I don't know what any of these acronyms are. Anyways, but yeah, it's like just a funny disconnect. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
but that's kind of that's my work life. And it's pretty
Hmm.
crazy that I just talked for that long about what my work life is. But Yeah,
Oof.
outside of work, I do still have things that I enjoy doing. First of all, you might have heard this in a few different places, Nikki. I've talked to you about it. I love reality TV, but not just reality TV. I like TV. Like, I like shows. I actually started one last night. I don't know if I'm going to keep going, but it's called Ride or Die. It's on Prime. I'll keep you updated on that, but I'll just find a show and watch it. I just really enjoy kind of being lost in the world of characters and whatever's happening and disconnecting. That's a really good way for me to do it. I love watching sports games live, especially. I've been to a
You're
few
done with the World
baseball
Cup. So what are
stadiums
you
in the
watching
last
now? Yeah.
year. I've been to a few basketball stadiums in the last year. I went to a hockey game. I went to watch soccer, obviously World Cup nonstop. I watch tennis pretty much every night to go to sleep. I'm
Mm,
consistently watching sports. WNBA, started watching some of that too. And women's
yes.
soccer is also a blast. And we have the World Cup coming up next year. So these are things that I just really enjoy. And then hanging out with friends around here, that's always super nice. Nikki's probably seen me get food delivered. I am an avid user of DoorDash. I'm a huge fan. DoorDash, if you hear this, I am your
Sponsor
number one
us.
customer. Definitely sponsor us, but love good food, love sleeping in, love an afternoon nap, going to the pool, just relaxing and remembering that I have a life outside of this is important at times. And obviously trying my best to enjoy parts of the cities that I'm going to visit to play as well when I'm traveling is a big deal because we go in, we see the pickleball courts and we leave, and I'm trying to get out of that cycle and break it.
Were you sad to have missed Disney, to not do the
I
Disney
was
thing?
okay. It felt so good to be home this week, Nikki, that
That's fair. Yeah.
I
You don't
really
care.
did enjoy watching the playing because I think it was electric. The level
Oof.
was
A crazy
awesome.
weekend. Yeah.
There was just a lot of good stuff, but I think being home beats wherever I could have been. So it's been really nice. On another note, I do obviously have a family. They all live in Brazil. So I do live, let's say in quotes here, a more lonely life here. I live alone. My boyfriend lives on the other side of the country and is often traveling too. And oftentimes I want to get a dog and then I remember that I'm traveling for, all the weeks out of the year. Even though I could bring the little one with me, I'm
Service
obsessed with
dog with.
dogs.
Just service dog. There you go. Bring it with you.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have one eventually. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So it, it's good, it's bad, it's all of the things in between. But it would not be as happy doing anything else right now. I don't think.
Mari, I just want to say thank you for sharing all of this because it's such a fascinating. I mean, I'm learning things about you in this conversation, but it really is a fascinating take to know what goes in. For other pro sports, we see pro athletes that are essentially just focused on their craft. They're just focused on the game and everything they're doing revolves around that. And then you see a few breakouts that are entrepreneurial. But this sport, again, is so unique and it's so different that it's so early that right now it is also the time to strike now if you're smart. So I think you're getting in on it. Don't just, do what you want, right? Play the sport, leave, do whatever you want. But I think this is the time for a lot of these pros to really get in on the action. And not only that, a lot of times they have to, because again, this is such a young sport. So they're just not making the money that you're making in other pro sports. So,
Exactly.
so
But
yeah.
the evolution of the sport has been wonderful to see, right? A lot of the things that I'm doing now just wouldn't be possible 2, 3 years ago when
And
I
you're seeing
was
the world.
starting to
Yeah.
compete. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just insane that, I mean, Nikki, you were with me. You witnessed
Yeah.
this. I
Yeah.
got stopped, or actually, I told you as soon as I saw you, I got stopped in
Yeah.
the streets of New York City,
Yeah.
just walking to the subway to go meet up with Nikki. And that's crazy.
But I will say you got stopped because of your YouTube videos, not because of being a
Because of
pro
my
pickleballer, right?
content.
Yeah, because of your
Absolutely. So
content.
my third job is getting me more
Yes.
views and
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
fame and just moments than my playing is. And that's not to say I'm
Wild.
not a good player. There's just hundreds of good players out there now. So it is different to be a player and content creator in the space at the moment. And I think I need to lean into that, especially considering that there's not many women doing it. And I really want to encourage more women to do this. If you want to talk through things, just kind of understand where I'm coming from. I love to collaborate with people on content. I mean, Nikki, we've worked together on a few things already, and I just genuinely enjoy it. And I think the growth on the playing side, the coaching side, and the content creation side is beneficial for everyone. So I think there's
Mm,
space for more.
More, more, more. Yes.
Yes.
Definitely more women needed. There are a decent amount of women in the content creation space. However, there's just not enough visibility. And, it sounds like you're seeing that too. And I think this is a good segue into what the heck I'm doing here, because I am
Yeah,
all
enough about
content
me.
creation. Enough about you. Yeah, we got
You are
28
not all
solid minutes
content
more.
creation. You have a job too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have my full-time
Job number
job, my
one.
corporate job. Good job. I don't know if you got number one or number two. No,
Well,
but yeah,
yeah, pays the bills.
it pays the bills. It definitely does that. Thank the Lord for that. And it pays for pickleball. But no, so I mean, my number one career is in learning and development. So I lead a team, a training squad that teaches people things like product knowledge, how to sell things, leadership skills, communications, DEI, all of that. That's all coming through me now. But enough about that. Let's get into the important stuff. The important stuff is, back to what I was just saying, right? There's not necessarily a gap in women in social media, pickleball social media. They just aren't getting the views and the attention and the comments and the engagement that a lot of the men are. So you see a lot of men in pickleball social media that are far more recognizable than women. So I'm glad that you're out there doing it. I want to see more in the pro world. I actually think it's the opposite. I think in the pro world, women are doing social media better than the men. You, Anna Bright, I mean, there's Tyra, I think, is doing a great job. She's getting out there. She's posting herself. I think that there's still quite a bit of room for some others to, just get their voices out there. But either way, I think in the pro world, women are more visible. In the social media space, non-pro world, yeah, it's a boys club for sure. And that's not necessarily why I started doing this. I think it's become part of my mission over time, but it's not why I started doing this. I started just to basically be part of the community, meet people. I didn't even start to get free stuff. And then when the free stuff started to come in, and I was like, heck yeah, give me all of that.
Free stuff is awesome, isn't it?
Free stuff is awesome. Yeah. I'm going to shout out the first brand that ever sent me anything is called Dinky Balls. They're an awesome brand based in, I believe, in Massachusetts or Connecticut, somewhere around there. And they just make really fun. They have these little characters, and everybody's a different character, and like ambassadors like Joy and the Banger and like all these. Anyways, but they sent me like a package, and I'll never forget when I first got that box in the mail from Dinky Balls, and I still have it actually. I was just like, what? This is so cool that you get free stuff. It was like sweatshirts and hats and everything. But that's not why I joined this and I started doing this content creation thing. It was really just to be part of the community. Now, what I found, the more that I was doing this, the more I found that gap that I'm talking about, where I was like, oh my gosh, when it comes to paddle reviews, there's like hardly any women in the paddle review space at all. When it comes to just
and
like,
there's a lot of men, just to be clear here, it's not
a
like
lot.
There's a lot of paddle reviewers out there. So
yeah,
you're right. And just backing you up here.
There are some women who do it, but it's almost like they're like too timid. I don't know, because when you get into, and this is something that I've actually learned in my professional career. So I do product knowledge. I used to work for Apple. And at Apple, one of the things I learned the most is how women shop versus men. And men are very heavily focused on specs, and they want to know, they go shopping for a car and they want to know the, all the different, horsepower and everything, right? They shop for a computer. They want to know CPU. They want to know RAM. They want to know all this stuff, right? And that's not all men, by the way. There's a select population, and they do their research and all of that. And then the majority of the population of people, if just humans, men, women, everybody, actually shop more like generally how women shop, which is what we call benefits. And that is about, what is this thing going to do for me? What's in it for me is the sales term. And it's very much like, yeah, sure. All those numbers, the specs are great. Cool. But like, what does that mean? Am I going to have a bunch of tabs open in my browser? Right? Like, is my computer going to explode when I open up like 50 tabs, which we all do, right? So
I got 50 up right now. How
many tabs do you have open right now? Yeah, I was going to say you have at least 50 right now.
Don't worry about it.
God forbid you try to open more than one application at once, and right. Or if you're doing any video editing or photo edit or whatever, right? So Apple taught me that. And this very same thing applies to pickleball, right? When you think about like paddle reviews or gear reviews, and what's out there currently is so heavily focused on specs. They're doing the grit testing and wear testing, and they're doing the swing weight, blah, 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 all this stuff, which is all useful information. It is definitely can be useful information, but for most people, does not translate. And so I am on a mission. Part of my mission that has sort of kind of been created and building along this journey of mine is to uplift other women to do the same thing, to do more. That's actually why I reached out to you and I was like, Mari, more of you. We need to see more of you and your
Yeah.
personality, because the sport is referred to as a great equalizer. So I want to see that in the media space as well. And so that's become a huge part of my mission. I want to uplift everyone, right? Pickleball Joy is a huge part of my mission. I started the Pickleball Joy Pledge in February, and that's been really awesome. Just like every single person that I talked to about the Pickleball Joy Pledge, it resonates with them instantly. And so if you don't know what that is, basically it's when you hit that moment, usually they call it the honeymoon phase, 1 year into playing pickleball, and all of a sudden your joy just dips. You take the game so seriously, all of a sudden you want to play only competitive games. You only want to play a certain level. You only want to, you really get down on yourself after a tournament or whatever, right? Versus when you first started playing and you loved and you were so happy to play with anyone and every game was fun and you're laughing and having a great time, right? That joy like fades over time. And then what's funny is like the further along you get into it, like you see a lot of pros have a ton of pickleball joy where they're just having a great time out there. You and Zane are laughing and having a blast, getting, pickled practically, right? Or whatever, but you're having a great time. You can still also have really, really competitive games and you can still have an amazing time out there. So I'm trying to see like, what's the gap? What's the in between? So I created the Pickleball Joy Pledge, which is all about bringing that back to front of mind, really to the front of your mind to say like, why did I love this game to begin with? So that's another big part of my mission. I think all of this together, when you think about what I'm doing in this space, I refer to myself as a pickleball lifestyle content creator. So I'm doing, again, paddle reviews. I'm doing events, different types of gear reviews, court reviews. I'm in a different court right now even, and covering different aspects of the sport and the community, talking to different people. And my just overall mission is to uplift, to build, and to be a good, positive voice in the sport, because I don't want it to become what so many other sports are. I want this to continue to be the thing that we all fell in love with to begin with. So that's what I've been doing in this space. It takes up essentially over 100% of my time. How's that possible? I don't know. What's the math there? Do the math on that. But yeah, it's brutal. It's
but
brutal.
It seems like there's actually quite a bit of overlap between what you do for work and what you're doing in pickleball. Whether
it
you
is.
want
It is
or not.
Yeah. I teach, public speaking for work. I teach people how to facilitate and how to train. So that makes it much easier for me to speak on camera. It's something I have to teach my team to do and make them all record themselves and feel comfortable with that. So that was much easier. I also teach, again, sales, right? So if I'm explaining something or if I'm storytelling, that's a big part of my job in retail, storytelling the product. So being able to talk about whatever the event was, that's a lot of storytelling. So it definitely translates and it definitely helps for sure. And something else with that, considering I have this background, I'm very fortunate to have this experience, is that I'm happy to help other content creators. I get a lot of people reaching out to me and saying like, I'm making content, but I don't feel super comfortable on camera, or I don't know how to do this particular thing. I like how you do this thing or whatever, and I'm also here to help others because, again, I just want to continue building and growing the community in a positive way. I actually started with a few folks, speaking again back to not only just building the community, but building women and content creators. I had a group going for a while where we were all just like supporting each other's content over and over again. Like everybody who'd post, they would share and everybody would like and comment or whatever. Anyway, but that was awesome. And I think we did some really good work and it kind of faded off because everybody got really, really busy. But I think more of that, that's the stuff that I kind of want to continue seeing and continue building.
Yeah, the uplifting stuff is really cool. Even something as silly as my polls is something that I've been invested in for the last few weeks, but it's the most engagement I've had on my page in so long because people want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I respond to everyone. So someone will send it to me saying like, this is insane. On the pineapple on pizza, someone messaged me asking, can I get that list? They need to have a talking to. I think that's hilarious, but it's the uplifting part of things that's pretty awesome. And the fact that we get to make a difference in the community and make a difference in potentially a positive impact in people that are coming into the sport, people that have dipped a little bit in their joy in the sport, or people that don't know what direction to take in the sport is special. And I think that's what we share so much, Nikki, even though we are on completely different sides of the sport. But hey, where is your free time? I was trying to figure out how to phrase that.
It's spent on my dog. Yeah, my dog Gravy and my cat Mush Mush and my partner Michelle. We also do love watching reality TV, as much as we can. Usually I'm there with my phone and actually.
Yeah. But reality TV, you don't have to be fully locked in on.
And you don't have to be, but I do get locked in on it where I'm like, wait, what did you say?
I'm invested. I know.
Yeah. So I love, yeah, exactly. we don't really watch movies because I fall asleep very easily. And so I like to watch shows and all of that, but reality TV is the easiest thing to kind of keep my attention. It's like such quick hits of dopamine where it's just like,
It is.
like a rush of fighting and then this drama and then something else happens. So that keeps me awake enough. Otherwise, I'm going to fall asleep because I'm so tired all of the time. But I do travel. My partner and I, Michelle, she's amazing about, she's an entrepreneur. She's built a huge empire here in New York City. And so she has to get away. I've been learning a lot from her on how to take those breaks. I think, Mari, you can probably learn a lot from her too on how do you build your own PTO calendar and really take time off and disconnect when you're there. So I think that's super important for everybody to do for sure. I'm still learning how to do that. So as soon as I figure it
Same.
out
I think we need to
entirely,
work on that together.
I think, yeah, we need like, was it
We
accountability
both need to
buddies or
learn.
whatever?
Max is
Yeah.
also pretty good about taking his time off, and you're learning from Michelle, I'm learning from Max, and we need to
Yeah.
actually take that into. We need the breaks too. Nikki, you have two jobs that I think it's 1A and 1B for you right now. For me, it is, I
Essentially.
think, 1, 2, and 3. For you, it's much more of 1A, 1B. You are
Yeah.
spending absurd amount of times on both of those jobs.
Yeah. It's basically just a calendar full of blocks of time blocks of like meetings here and there, editing, and then go and film, and then go back to a meeting, and so,
And then
but
pick up
yeah,
a call from Mari.
and then, yeah, exactly. And then Mari's texting me in between. Hey, do you know what happened with blah, blah? Yeah, exactly. Gotta respond to Mari. Yeah. And I will say, for anyone listening who texts me at any time or sends me a message, I will respond to as many Instagram messages or social media messages as I possibly can. But I am an awful, awful texter. I will admit that. Oh my gosh. I will sometimes take days to respond to something. If I look at it, which my Apple Watch helps me with this, but it in a way kind of hurts me. I'll see the message. I go, ooh, I got to respond to that later. And then all of a sudden, 3 days later, I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't respond to
I
that
didn't
thing.
respond. I know.
So I am so sorry. I don't know if you're like that, Mari, but I am a really, really bad
I am.
texter.
I end up getting pretty busy, and then I forget it because in my head I answered it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be there.
In my head,
I'm
it's like,
free
oh
those
yeah, for
days.
sure.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Like, no, I didn't say anything. I'm so sorry. And then I'm constantly sending apology texts for that. Yeah.
Yes. Apologies for the delay. It's just like something I have saved as one of my favorite messages. But Nikki, thank you for sharing everything as well. I know that I definitely heard things that I didn't know as well. And yeah, if you all can't tell from listening to this, Nikki and I have become friends throughout this process, and it's just been cool to get to know someone that's on the other side of things. But Nikki, I don't think I've asked you this. What is your ultimate goal? Like if you, we talk about the 5-year plan, and usually it's with something that's a little bit more certain, but let's say it doesn't have to be certain. It's just the direction that you want to take. Where would you want to be?
It's a great question that I'm still trying to figure out because people ask me this all the time. Like, what are you trying to do with this thing? Like, it's going to be your full-time job. What are you doing with this thing? I mean, I would love it for it to be my full-time job. When you say pickleball is your job, it kind of is mine as well, partially. And I would like it for it to be full-time. I think my answer is a convoluted one to some extent where it's two things. One, I'd love to be involved in pickleball media in a bigger way, whether that's on TV, whether that's, really dedicated to social. I love being at events and emceeing events and all of that. I think that's really great. So if I were to travel and do that, I'd be happy. So as far as what I'm doing career-wise is sort of up in the air, but I think it's in the media space for sure. My biggest goal is, again, to be a positive ambassador for the sport. I want to be an ambassador for the sport. I want to be a voice, a face, everything. And I want to make sure that I'm making an impact on the sport in the best possible way. So I'm encouraging women. I'm helping kids as they're getting started. I've taught my niece and nephews pickleball, and they're the most competitive little a-holes in the world. They're just like, they're awful. They're awful to each other. And that's how I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get them in line and trying to get them to, and I'm using pickleball as a vessel to teach them, sportsmanship and pride and feeling good about yourself, not getting down about things. And so I want to continue doing that for not only kids, but for the rest of the world. And so that's my goal. Is I also have, this is a big one, this is why you have to be careful when you ask me questions like this, like goals, because I'll give you this, like, it's not a SMART goal. Let's put it that way. It ain't a SMART goal for corporate lingo in there, if you know what that is.
Oh, I'm aware. I had to fill those out often.
This ain't that. I believe that pickleball can and is changing the world. I think it brings people together in a way that essentially nothing else in our current state is doing. It's bringing together people of different, obviously, we all know ages, genders, backgrounds, ethnicities, social statuses, all of this, political, it just, everything, every different type of person. And in this moment, you're in this bubble. I call it the bubble. When you walk onto the pickleball court, you're in a bubble that the rest of the world doesn't matter. And when you step onto that court, nothing else matters in a good way and a bad way. Obviously, like things need to matter. We also need to pay attention to the news and all of that. But in the best possible way, you are safe from your anxieties. You are safe from the stressors for just an hour that you're playing, or 5 hours if you're me, and many pickleballers. We know how it is. And I think that's part of the reason why one more game even exists, the one more game, because it is such a powerful tool to relief. And I think so many of us need it right now more than ever. And so I cherish that. And I want to continue to respect that and to uphold that, because not many sports are doing that. So many sports have become borderline like violent. The way that people treat each other as fans, and the way that people get down on themselves with losses, and just all of this, like the sports and betting, like there's so many different aspects of sports that can be so beautiful and so ugly at the same time. And I just don't want pickleball to be that. Is that a good answer for you, Mari? Did I answer your question?
You went over the character limit.
Never give me Twitter out of here with that 160 character limit. I could never tweet.
I want to make sure I use the right words there.
Oh my God. I totally fail a character limit. So thank you for
No, that was a great answer. I really,
yeah.
I feel that from you. So that's awesome. And you don't have to have a certain answer, because I think every year things change so much in this sport that it's hard to make that assumption, right? I mean, a year ago, I wasn't doing a podcast. I didn't have half as many clinics as I'm doing now, and I wasn't playing at the level that I was at. So it's hard to compare. So I totally understand.
Well, what about you? Where do you want it? What's your ultimate? What's on your vision board?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one for each of my 3 jobs. I don't think I've reached my level yet, even though I'm one of the elders in pickleball.
Yeah, I'm not gonna live that down. Yeah.
I don't think I'm at my peak. I think that I can be better than I currently am, and I would like to hit that level. So I'm going to keep working hard to be the best player that I can be, whatever that is. So that's number 1. Obviously, I would love to, just from a playing side too, get to represent my country in a World Cup, in an Olympics, whatever that might be. Just getting to represent Brazil would be huge. Just a lifelong dream. So that's something that's kind of on the side, but ultimate goal. From the teaching side, I want to kind of be a, how do you say, just kind of a really well-respected name out there that helps educate all the way from kids to teenagers to people that didn't play racket sports, played racket sports, in-person teaching, online teaching, just a reference. There we go. A worldwide reference for coaching, because it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. And I think I'm good at. I think that's the strongest part of my 3 jobs, is my coaching and my knowledge of the sport and my ability to spread that knowledge in different ways. So I want to keep doing that. I want to keep teaching. I'm going to keep going down that road. That's one that I know is going to keep going.
Mari, something I want to say about that really quickly. I just want to also call out for folks who are listening to this, if you're still listening to us and you enjoy this episode. Mari, we could probably spend an entire episode talking about teaching, because I'm literally an educator by profession. So teaching is what I do. And my job is to not be a subject matter expert in the subject itself. I'm a subject matter expert in education, in teaching, and learning, and how to deliver that information. So I'm watching, even when I go to clinics or anything from any other coaches, and I'm just let it be known that because you are a good pickleballer, just because you're a good pickleballer, does not mean you are a good teacher. Okay, people? So
say it louder, Nikki.
I can absolutely. Did that meet the character limit right there? Okay, so
that was good. Well under it.
So I just want to say, when I'm asking about pros doing other careers and things, that does not mean, and many of them probably will, but that doesn't mean they go into coaching and that they're necessarily good at it. And I think for folks or thinking about attending pro clinics or anything like that, just because they see a pro, it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get your money's worth. Just because they're good at doing the thing doesn't translate to you as a learner doing it. Mari, you are one of the best teachers, of a sport that I've ever seen, because you have a way of translating not only what it is the thing that you are trying to do, why they're trying to do it, what exactly that they're doing. I think that's a big miss. A lot of people aren't able to articulate what it is that they just did and then how to tweak and adjust that thing. And that's a huge component to teaching. And then I think the last biggest, maybe the biggest component, which I think is the biggest differentiator between a good coach and a bad coach, is speaking to different people, different learners, different levels. And you do that really well. So I just want to call that out. I've only been to one of your clinics, but hey, I got better. I'm a 5.5 from a 3.0. So, for a night. So it worked.
Well,
but
thank you, Nikki.
I just want to just let people know who are listening that when you're thinking about signing up for a clinic, or you're thinking about going to this is not just pros, to any teacher, think about your learning style. Think about why you liked maybe one coach over another. But Mari, you're on the right track with heading in that direction for teaching. I think you are definitely going to make yourself, well known as that type of person, that type of coach in the industry for that exact reason.
Well, I really appreciate that. Those are nice words, Nikki.
I had
Maybe
to be nice
above
for
the
a minute.
character limit again, but whatever. We'll take it.
And stop giving me character limits. I'm not good at them.
I'll give you my last one. Ultimate goal with the content creation is truly to keep spreading good advice out there. You know that one of my pet peeves, I've talked about this, is bad advice. It's actually something that I've been working on with fixing with a lot of my students, is things that they see online or that they are taught by their coaches. It's just not quite fully accurate. And then we're having to play catch up and having to get rid of some bad habits. So keep spreading that. Keep doing fun things like the polls that generate engagement, that I get to know the audience, and just keep growing the social media channels. Honestly, it's like a fun game of seeing insights as a data person. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with reading the insights and seeing how these are performing, trying to figure out the algorithm to know what does well, what doesn't do well, doing a mix of fun videos versus instructional videos. Like the one that I just did with Freddie, that I'm like jumping on his back for an overhead. Like,
that video tripped me up, man.
Video.
That was
we
wild.
did it in one try, which is crazy.
Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself doing these videos.
I was close, but it was fun.
Gotta hire a stunt double out here for this social media content.
But yeah, just kind of doing all types of videos and keeping that going, and always open to suggestions. I don't think I have an actual goal. Like, if I had to give you something, the plaque from YouTube for the 100,000 subscribers, I think it's like one of the coolest things out there. Have you seen those?
No, but now I want one.
Well, we got to get one, Nikki. I don't know. I think that'd be a really cool life achievement.
Yeah.
But I don't actually have a numbers goal or anything outside of that. Just seeing the growth is pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, now I have to add something else to my vision board. Thanks, Mari.
Yeah,
Mari,
you're so welcome.
Well, we're talking about the vision. You and I definitely have aligned on the sport and why we love it so much. I'm curious, if you were to pick one thing that you want to see as long as you possibly can, maybe even forever in the sport, what's something that you wouldn't want to change versus something you absolutely would want to change? What would that be?
I think the joy is something that I don't want to change. I want the happiness that I see in people's faces and the community aspect of pickleball to go forever. And something that I definitely don't want to happen is the negatives of tennis coming into the sport, which is something that I witnessed with like bad parents, and then the cheating and just the pressure that's created around a lot of the juniors. I just want it to be a clean path for a sport that just potentially can be a life changer for them, and potentially have it in college by the time these kids can play it too. No and yes, I guess, together there. You got to answer the same question. This was a good one, Nikki.
You just took my answers.
But that seems like a you problem. I got to answer first.
You got to answer first. Damn, wait, ask me the question. We need Paige, the producer, to switch this around. Now, obviously the joy, I'll add some more. So I want to see the trajectory of the sport in the role of, the gender roles that are happening right now. I think this is such a cool sport that women and men get to play together. They get to play against each other, like all of that. I think that's just so fascinating to me. I love it. Especially in such a tumultuous time of the subject. And so I think it's a wonderful thing. And you get to see, Anna Lee Waters just absolutely, kicking ass and taking names out there as the GOAT, truly. And also, I'm just going to put this out there because I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, but this is our episode, so I can say whatever I want, right? Yeah, I can say whatever I want.
Say whatever you want.
I'm going to call, and, actually, Nico just did a video about this, about the best versus the greatest pickleballer. I'm going to say, get out of here with that nonsense. Anytime somebody says, well, if they played 1v1, who would win, her versus Ben? Out of here. Out of here with that. Here's a couple of thoughts. You just made a face, so I want to know your thoughts on this. Pickleball is not a 1v1 sport entirely, right? It's a double sport. And I would like to see scientists out there, AI people, make this happen. I want to clone Annalie Waters and I'm going to clone Ben Johns. I want to put them together in doubles. I want to see who wins on that. So let's make that a hypothetical, right? But I'm tired of this 1v1 way of articulating who's better because look at her dominance. She's still just getting started. Look at Ben Johns is not getting iced out the way that Annalie Waters is getting iced out game after game after game. It says everything you need to know about who she is, about how she plays. Is he an extraordinary player? Yes, absolutely. Is he one of the best and absolutely one of the greatest of all time? For sure. But I still put her above him at this point because I do also think that he's tailing out at the end of his career. He's already losing way more, whereas she's like just getting started and she's still only a few years in. So I like that. I want to know, before I answer the original question, why did you make the face when I said that?
Yeah, I actually think that people look at this completely different. I don't know why people are trying to name one greatest of all time in a sport that has men and women. In every other sport, it's separated. I just don't quite understand why the discussion is Annalie or Ben. It could be Annalie or Simone, or it could be Ben or Kyle Yates, but you can't really say Ben versus AL. I think they're both in their respective categories the best. And I think that's my opinion, just because, I mean, I'm not comparing, do you think Serena Williams is the GOAT or do you think it's Roger Federer? It's like, that's never been a question.
Yeah. Because they're on the same court together, all of a sudden it becomes this 1v1. The other thing is, all right, so if you want to really go 1v1, right, and you're saying, well, she can only be the best if she beats him in singles. Well, guess what? Look at all the other people who's beaten him in singles. He's getting beat all the time in singles. Does that mean that all of those other guys that are beating him?
His effort level in singles is not as high as it used to be.
No,
and
but my point is beating someone in singles. Yeah, again, I'm not taking anything away from him in that respect. He's extremely, extremely beyond talented, beyond, whatever. But my point is I can't stand the 1v1 argument as to why he's quote unquote better than her or the other way around, because it's just illogical.
I just find those arguments funny.
They're so ridiculous. Anyways, okay.
Anyways, back to the original question. Nikki, stop avoiding me.
Okay. Character count. Sorry. Character count. All right. So the reason why I want to keep in the sport is I want to keep the beauty of this magical element of how elevated women are in the sport compared to other sports. In every other sport, women are playing catch up, right? You're looking at the WNBA versus the NBA, right? The women are playing catch up there. You're looking at even women's soccer, right? The women's soccer team here in the United States are far superior to the men's soccer team, yet for some reason are still not getting the same notoriety. You're seeing, in essentially almost every other sport, women are just kind of always playing catch up. And so this is the first sport since it's so young where women are at least a level playing field, if not even a little bit ahead. And I just love that. I want to see that continue. What do I want to shift? I just want to shift your answer was beautiful. The tennis energy, stay away from that for sure. But I also think just in general, somebody recently posted something about Thailand, how beautifully the perfect level of competition it was there, that everything was super competitive, but still really fun. And so I think the tennis element is one thing, but also something that's happening here in the States. It seems like it's not happening elsewhere yet. Maybe it's because pickleball is still so young elsewhere, but I don't want to see pickleball be corrupted and turn into this really aggressive. I want to get rid of these stories of people, the pickle brawls. I want to get rid of these stories of people slashing tires because of their game.
No, that's crazy and pretty funny from the outside too, but bad.
I mean, it's funny and you're like, oh my God, these people are insane. But also cut it out. So why is this becoming like a regular thing? And then many of them are happening in Florida, by the way.
It's always Florida, man. I know. Florida, I'm not from here.
Florida, man. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I just don't want to see any of that. I want to eliminate as much of that from the sport as possible.
Good answer, Nikki. Approved of that
Florida man out of here.
Nikki, we've talked a lot about great stuff. Obviously, I have one more question before I give you my non-pickleball question because
I was waiting for it.
It still is a 99% pickleball episode. Fair. So I'm going to give you one more pickleball related one though. What has been your favorite experience thus far? I guess this year in pickleball, you only have had 1 year of pickleball. So just favorite experience.
Oh my God, putting me on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
I am so fortunate to have had so many good experiences in 1 year. Like, it is kind of scary to look back at my year and realize that was all not even an entire year yet. I'm coming up at the end of this month will be 1 year of content creation. My favorite, man, this is so tough. I think possibly hybrid pickleball last week, para pickleball
Nice.
and PickleCon was something that was at the top of my list because I am obviously a big advocate for inclusivity in the sport, and actually seeing less of what was happening on the court and more of the faces around PickleCon, people walking by and being like, "Oh, this is so cool," and just opening their minds to a different element, different aspect of the sport was, I wouldn't go so far as to say life changing, but pretty darn close to that. Like, it really was moving. It was profound. And, it's not their jobs, the wheelchair players' jobs, to have this impact on people, but it really was so special for them to be out there and to do this. So for me to be a part of that was definitely a highlight of my year. Yeah. How about you?
I can't answer something as wholesome as that. I mean, that was too good of an answer. So I wish I went first. But
Oops. Wait,
there,
was yours that one shot that you hit against ALW when you just like turn around and you're just like, whoa, what's
no, that
that
was a
time?
pretty cool one. I have two that immediately come to mind. My first pro medal, even though it was in a split age event at the US Open, it was
Nice.
a moment that I'm never going to forget. I got to share the court with Sherry Quarter, still a good friend of mine, just someone that I value a lot. And we kind of shocked everyone that day by being two people that no one knew and beating Paris and Beth Bellamy in the final. So that was just like a day
Mm,
that I'm never going to forget. So that was a pretty fun experience and just memorable. And the other one was it was a fortunate series of events. So I'm going to call that the experience of just Georgia not having a partner for a tournament, AB reaching out to Julie and asking if I could play with her. She says, yes, I go and we make a semis run. That leads me to get picked up by the fives. And that leads us
mm,
to having a really good year in 2024. So I think just
mm.
like that series of events that kind of, it really jump started my pro career, I think was really special. So I've had so many though, getting to play with names like Jack Sock and Donald Young. I shared the courts with them in doubles now. And those are guys I grew up watching play tennis, playing against Jeannie Bouchard, being like at, around Agassi. It's just so crazy from the tennis world to get to do that and competing. I mean, getting a win over Ben for the first time for me. There's just so many things that meeting my boyfriend through the sport. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things that I could say. So
Yeah.
I will forever be thankful for pickleball. And I think we're just scratching the surface, Nikki. I think we're nowhere near where we're supposed to be with it. So
Just getting warmed up, my friend. Just
getting
heating
warmed
up. Let's
up.
do this.
Getting warmed up.
Yeah.
That's right. And before I get to the pickleball question, too, obviously, this has been an incredible season so far. Lots of good guests, fun solo episodes. But we have two more super special ones coming up. Good friend of mine, Kyle Kazuda, that pickleball guy. I need to make sure I say that pickleball guy because no one knows his name.
Kyle
I say
Kazuda.
that to
No, the
Kyle.
pickleball guy. Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, that was a fun episode. He's a guy that's just been around the block for a long time, extremely knowledgeable. Another guy that's kind of taken the business side of pickleball by storm with his instructional stuff. So pretty cool to hear. And then we got Tito.
Tito Machado. Yeah. From Duper. Yeah.
That's right.
He's going to share some really big duper updates right now. The big thing that's making noise is the AI integration, the video integration into Duper. So Tito's going to be talking all about that with us. I have lots of thoughts on that. I'm sure you do too. So we'll share more on that. So we got a pretty strong close of the season, Mari. It's been an
Yeah.
amazing season altogether. I mean, we've had some extraordinary guests. I mean, that was also like a highlight for me was interviewing Lee Waters on this podcast. Like, oh my gosh, I still can't believe that happened. And
Pretty
she's such
cool.
an icon. She's such a legend. But we are still going strong. Two more fantastic episodes to come. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Accepting suggestions for next season as well, what you all are looking for, what you thought, feedback, all of it. We want to hear good things, bad things, controversial things, anything that you want to send to us. But
what do you want us to talk about? Who do you want us to talk to? What do you want to see more of from us? Clearly nothing less of because we're, doing everything well. Yeah, anything that you want to shift and that you want us to just kind of explore more. Tell us, what polls do you want Mari to start including?
please send poll suggestions my way. I'm running out of ideas.
Yeah, seriously, she's only got so many in tank, so help her out. We want to hear from you because season 1 is coming to a close. We're going to take a break and then come back for a very powerful season 2. So let's make it better and better and better as much as we can. So yeah, want to hear from you all. Mari, you got a question for me? A non-pickleball question. Mm-hmm.
I do. What is the app on your phone that you would choose to keep if you could only have one app? So you get to keep the ones that come with it, right? Like text, phone, all that stuff is fine. But what is one app that you've had to download that you think you could not live without at this point?
That's assuming that I use, I mean, obviously I can't say like social media.
You can. I mean, is that what you would choose?
I'm looking through my apps right now. Pickleball TV. I'm like, what's crazy is like looking at your apps. Everyone who's listening right now should open up their phone and just look at their apps and look at what they've been
But it's
looking
one that
at.
you had to download, okay? So yeah, text
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
count, phone doesn't count. Is that it? Like calculator
yeah.
doesn't count,
Sure,
but
sure.
an app that you've
Any of the
had to
standard.
download. Correct.
Yeah, that I would want to keep. That's the only app that I can, the only extra app that I can keep. I'm gonna go with, oh, man. As much as I would want to say social, like part of me says I have to keep social media because that's like my livelihood at this
But
point.
you can do it on your
But I'm
laptop.
gonna. Oh yeah, that's a totally different
You gotta
scenario.
outsmart the system here, Nikki.
It's a loophole. You're giving loopholes in this
Absolutely.
hypothetical. So then, if that's the case, then sure, I can do social media on my laptop. But because the whole point of an app, a mobile application, is it's supposed to be handy and quick. I'm going to go with, I know you just said a rival to this company, but I'm going to say Seamless because I usually use Seamless, but I could say
Wow.
DoorDash or Uber Eats or something like that because I order way too much food and I need it to be quick. I need it like, when I'm ready to
Okay.
order, like I need it right there. Yeah. How about you?
That's a good answer. Mine would be Waze. I'm directionally
Ooh.
challenged.
So there's maps already on your phone, but you would
You
still
gotta
choose
download it.
Waze. You have to download maps?
Pretty sure.
Apple Maps?
Does
I
it
don't know if you have
come
to
on
download
it?
Apple Maps. I'm pretty sure that comes on the phone. No?
Think so. I could
It's
be
been too long
wrong,
since I
but
worked at Apple. I don't know.
I could be wrong, but I think it doesn't.
Well, but here's what I'll give you because people do like Waze over Apple Maps anyways.
If Apple Maps is on the phone, I will change my answer to Spotify.
You wouldn't use Apple Music?
No.
All right, there you
You're
go. There
killing
you
me
go.
right now. What if people don't have Apple phones, Nikki? What are you gonna do about it? What about the
Doesn't have
listeners
an iPhone.
that have Samsungs? My brother doesn't believe in Apple products, okay?
Oh, we got to talk. If anybody out there does not have an iPhone, we got to talk. I'm in sales. I can
If you
sell. I can
don't
sell you on
have
an
an
iPhone.
iPhone, shoot me a DM and I'll send you Nikki's number so you can just text her nonstop with the
Yeah.
green bubble.
When you forget your password, I apparently will help you with that. Yeah, your Apple ID password. Oh my God, I just opened up a can of worms. So sorry for offending
Okay. Yeah.
10% of our listeners.
No, I thought that would be a fun one, but it is interesting that some people just like really value, like the map is something that if it's not already downloaded,
Mm.
I can't get around without it.
No,
But
that's
you're right. The
that's
food
good.
one is also good.
But we know everyone should have podcasts because they should be listening to this right here.
Correct.
And luckily that one already comes on your
Anywhere
phone.
that
Yeah,
does come
anywhere.
on your phone.
All
Anywhere.
right, that's already on your phone. Oh my gosh, that was a good one, Mari. You made me think. I had to really, really think about. I was like,
I'm
what
trying to get
apps do
creative
I
with these
use?
questions for you.
Oh, that was a good one. My brain just totally melted on that one. That was a good one.
Good.
Man, Mari,
Good. That's the hope.
what a great season this has been. Again, we still have 2 more fantastic episodes to come. We're exploring other fun things as well to do even between episodes. So if anyone has ideas with that, just tell us. What do you want to see from us? And we just want to hear from you. So put it in the comments, send us DMs, all of that. We love to see it. I don't respond to texts, as I've mentioned in this podcast. So don't text me because I probably won't respond to that. But otherwise, we just want to hear from everyone. We just want to hear from you all because it's a huge part of this podcast as well. So great stuff. Great getting to know you today, Mari, even better than I already did. And yeah, again, we're just heating up, my friend.
Just heating up. Thank you again for listening. Sorry about Nikki, and we'll see you next week.
And my character limits. Don't forget to listen. This by now, we're already almost at the end of the season, but you already know. Catch us on Thursdays, anywhere that you get podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, other places that apparently I'm leaving out because I'm a Apple snob, but you can catch us anywhere. Make sure you listen. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, engage. We want to hear from all of you. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on another one next week.
See you next week.